Another panel of analysts who have joined us this morning. Major General Muyiwa Badewole joins us today. And then beside him is retired Captain Umar, Aliyu, both of them gentlemen of the military. Thank you both for coming on today.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Let's talk about security. Obviously, that's what this we will start off with here today. The president didn't mince words. He addressed it. He spoke about what his intention were, because, I mean, right from his campaign, he's always talked about security. Then he comes on board, talks about the kind of efforts he's made after consultation with several people and the actions he's taken so far. And then the deadline that is given about what needs to be done with insurgency by the end of this year. But his comments so far and what you've seen, how do you juxtapose them?
Well, I think the president means well for the Nigerian forces and for Nigeria. But before I go into that speech, let me join millions of well-wishers to congratulate Nigeria for 55 years anniversary. You know, when the president came in, at his inaugural address, he made it known that the command headquarters will be relocated to the northeast. This was to ensure that those who are in leadership position of the armed forces have a feel of what is happening in the theater of operation. And of course, the appointments he made are very good appointments. The Chief of Defense Staff, very known senior officer, Chief of Army Staff, and so many things like that. And I think training is now receiving serious attention in the Nigerian armed forces. And of course, welfare of troops, logistics and equipment, these things are going to impact on the ability to end insurgency by December.
Well, while he also delivered that speech, he talked about the kinds of attacks that they've resorted to now, having weakened their backbone, resorting to attacking soft targets as IDPs. He thinks, look, they're already on the run. But at the end of, maybe say, January, no, at the end of December, by January, if any such attack occurs again, would you think people will be disappointed if that happens, having gotten this deadline that by the end of December, this should be over?
Well, I think we should get something clear here and get it straight. If Mr. President said that Boko Haram will be brought to an end in December, what he simply meant was that the ability of Boko Haram to inflict casualty on the Nigerian populace would have been seriously degraded. I remember in this program I told you once that low-intensity conflict is not something you can just wish away, just like that. We will still find some renegades of insurgency taking place in some parts of the Federation. But the ability of Boko Haram to wage a sustained war would have been seriously degraded by December. That is my own understanding.
Captain Umar, you have the same impression too?
Yes, indeed. I think there is an issue of clarity there. My own understanding of the Commander-in-Chief's brief for the troop commanders is to reclaim every inch of our soil from those insurgents. It's unacceptable for them to host flags anywhere within Nigeria, and by December 31st, there shouldn't be any Boko Haram base or any flag flying. But post December 31st, you really can begin to say the army can stop anybody from picking his bomb and taking it anywhere, except, of course, if other sister agencies are also given their own deadlines. For example, if we want to clear and secure our territorial integrity, giving the army that task, and the 31st December deadline is feasible. If we wanted to actually secure the integrity of our communities, street by street, word by word, the immigration, the SSS, and the police should also get their own deadlines. So the army could actually take back ground, but then the real business of holding ground will have to remain that of the other agencies. So we're not going to say, okay, all of them are out. Yes, fine, 31st December, we've done it. Kudos, Army. So what?
You know, there's something.
What next?
You know, there's something that maybe you both of you can help expatiate here. He said, well, haven't met with the G7 leaders and a couple of other leaders around the continent, neighboring countries. He said, the Nigerian military, the new leadership, the new commanders have taken the battle to the insurgents. So what's the difference in what we were seeing before, now that he's saying they took the battle to the insurgents, thereby depleting their strength? General.
Let me put it this way. Can we try to identify what are those factors that we want to make a soldier to want to fight? If a soldier believes in honor, in duty, and his country, he will want to fight. A soldier is well trained, he wants to fight. A soldier is given the right leadership, he will want to fight. And if a soldier knows that if he dies in operation, his family will be adequately compensated, a soldier will want to fight. So we had a lot of logistic issues in the past, but those issues are now being addressed, including the appointment I talked about. When your appointments are based on merit, it then means the rank and file, they are looking at the leadership of the armed forces. So if you appoint, if you had made appointment based on primordial sentiments, then nothing would have changed. But I started by telling you that the appointment he made when he came in sends a great message to the generality of Nigerians and people in the armed forces that look, it's not going to be business as usual. So to that extent, training is taking place, logistic requirements are being given, particularly from the G7 and other countries. Yeah. And of course, I also said it in this program before, that low-intensity conflict requires a multi-dimensional approach, which was what he was also talking about. It's not only the use of force that you are going to use in ending Boko Haram. All aspects of our national life must key into the war.
Is that where you talked about other sister agencies as well? Because we haven't seen them get such directives. Maybe we must have missed it, but is it clear that
yes,
they have?
When you talk about bringing an end or containing terrorism, you have to understand that terrorism is formless. As I speak to you this morning, they are poisoning water sources. So, you want to take our territories? No problem. We can wage war through water. We can wage war through air. Think anthrax. We can do a lot of things. So when it comes to terrorism, it's not only about the military forces. What you are seeing is for every chieftain, security, and anything that has to do with Nigerians, public, to actually pull their jotters and pens and begin to take their briefs from the cues the president gives, to exploit those leverages he's created with our 5 contiguous nations, with G7. As he's going, he's actually bringing about leverages which they should be exploiting, not waiting for it to happen before they take a cue. And let me just add to what the senior officer has said concerning taking the battle to the insurgents. Taking it to the insurgents simply means, in tactical parlance, keeping them on one leg. Keeping them on one leg is you have to keep them running, as in one leg always on the ground. They can't have 2 legs on the ground. Keeping them running is a rounded thing across board. Now, to be able to do that, you should be able to see that we've started in the right direction post-inauguration. In those days, we had a situation where they just showed up, we repelled them, no pursuit. We repelled them, they've gone back into the bush. Where did they go to? What part of the bush did they go to? Now we're taking it to them because the troops are going in there. They're not waiting for you to attack so you can be repelled like it used to be, but they are going to look for you. We're looking at search and destroy missions. And these search and destroy missions will comb every inch of that area. So based on that, the feedback we're getting is in tandem with what is happening.